So it hasn't even been one full year since the Luka and AD trade, and they're already trying to undo this mistake. And by they, I'm talking about the Dallas Mavericks. Now, you can't really blame them. This was an absolute joke of a trade. I know it's been a year, it's been almost 10 months, and trust me, nobody has forgotten. If you need any more proof, which you probably don't, but I'm going to tell you anyways, right now Dallas is sitting at 9-16 for the record. Normally when you make a trade, it's supposed to make your record better. It's supposed to improve your team. You're supposed to be winning more games. But right now they're sitting at 9-16, which is terrible. Another thing to consider is the guy who pulled the trade, Nico Harrison, he's out of the company. And then lastly, AD is already being shopped around. In other words, the guy they brought in to replace Luka, who is a generational talent, the guy they brought in to replace him, AD, is already being shopped around. And all of this has happened, and it hasn't even been a year yet. So things are pretty crazy in Dallas. The thing is, they're just not a competitor right now. Derek Lively got ruled out for the season. They have no reason to sit here and try to push the gas as much as they can. I think the best thing they can do is to develop Cooper Flagg, and if you can get rid of AD and Klay Thompson, that's not a bad idea either. Then you can commit to a youth movement of sorts. You can try to get draft picks and younger players and put the team in a position where maybe in a few years, you'll be in a really good spot to actually be a threat. And at that point, those younger guys would have improved so much. Now you are like a legit threat in the conference. Now, I don't just want to be negative here. So let's talk about AD because he's been doing pretty well. So he was out with a calf injury recently. He came back and he's been putting up good numbers. In his last 5 games, he had 2 games where he popped off. He had 29 points against the Rockets, and then he had 32 against the Nuggets. And this is actually really good for Dallas, because if he's playing well, then his trade value is increasing. It might be the highest that it can be right now. And compare this to the alternative, right? Like imagine AD's still hurt, or imagine he's sitting on the bench and not playing or whatever. At that point, even if you want to trade him, you can't. Like you're stuck with him because his trade value has completely tanked. But right now he's actually balling out. So if you're Dallas, this is the time to sit here and weigh the pros and cons and be like, okay, teams might be interested. Should we pull the trigger? This is the time. And, if they do decide to trade him, then there might be a couple roadblocks. Number one, he's 32 years old. But with his injury history, he plays like he's 52 sometimes. So that's something to consider. Also, he makes over $50 million a year right now. And so there's that financial piece, obviously, but I think he has a player option coming up too. And I think that last year is going to be somewhere between $65 and $70 million a year. So, if there is a team that wants him, then they better be damn sure that they want him because that's a huge financial commitment. So that part was a little bit surprising to me. So I was doing some research online to try to see okay, are there teams interested? And there are. I'm shocked, but there are teams that are interested. The 3 teams that I saw listed explicitly were Pistons, Hawks, and Raptors. And these are all East teams, so I'm guessing that their thought process was, okay, the East is wide open, it's completely easy and open for the taking, so maybe we can just get AD and we'll have an easy trip to the playoffs and get to the finals and everything works out perfectly well. That might be their thought process, and I'm thinking, is it really that simple? Is it really that easy if you get AD to everything just works out perfectly well? I mean, take any team, take the Pistons, for example, right? So if I'm the Pistons, I need to, number one, know that okay, because of AD's expensive contract, he's going to be worth multiple players, multiple draft picks, whatever. It's going to be a pretty hefty price that I'm going to have to pay. And that involves breaking up my core. And if I'm the Pistons, I would rather keep my core together and I get to maintain cap flexibility. And the only thing I'm missing out on is an injury-prone AD and his enormous and absurd expensive contract. So is that really a loss? I don't think so, right? I think the smartest decision is to not trade for AD. So I don't really know why teams are interested. Something always goes wrong with him. But at the same time, if it works out, that's perfect. Dallas also commented that, hey, if it doesn't work out, we will keep him and we might even extend him. So who knows, actually, maybe he just stays. Maybe all of this is arbitrary and he just ends up staying on the team. So yeah, bottom line here is that in only a year or less than a year after this big Luka trade that completely shook up the league, it looks like Dallas is already having second thoughts. And whether they are able to pull off a big trade or they end up keeping AD, I think the next 2 months are going to be huge in giving us a look into where this team's future is headed. Thank you for watching my video.